Sharry.
Thanks very much, Cahill. You'll have been aware of in recent days job losses in the northwest of the country from Orivo, a cooperative there, who now plans, against its own ethos, to produce butter in Cork instead of in Connacht, where its original home, North Connacht farmers. Secondly, we've had Avantcard with 37 other jobs. If one adds up all the retail businesses, restaurants, bars throughout the small towns of the northwest of Ireland, we will see many hundreds of job losses that don't reach the national media in recent times. What I'm calling for, and I'm sure supported by many colleagues throughout the northwest, is the establishment of a strategic employment task force for that region. The GNP for Ireland, some 46% of the total GNP, is produced in the Greater Dublin region. Now, that's neither sustainable for the Dublin region, indeed, nor is it fair to the rest of the economy. So what I would like to see is the establishment of a strategic employment task force with clear powers to put strategic investment in broadband, motorway infrastructure and the urgent development of the Northwest University of Technology. 3 tangible inputs, as opposed to glossy brochures that are promise-filled, that can, on one level, take pressure off this region that's responsible for almost 50% of our national GNP, and also create much-needed employment in that region. It's not too much for asked. Indeed, I think the same could be done for your own region, where there could also be some of the pressures taken off the Greater Dublin area. I think this is urgent. I think it's something that should be done. And again, not just a strategic task force in name, but one that's empowered and provided with the significant resources that are required to do those 3 things: broadband, motorway and the University of Technology for the Northwest. 3 issues of access: education, transportation and in terms of information technology as well. So I would ask you to take that on board and pass it on to the Taoiseach. The main point I want to raise today is the whole issue with the inquiry, the Commission of Inquiry into IBRC. Leader, it's simply not credible to us on this side of the House that the Department of Finance, the Taoiseach, the Minister for Finance, are saying that only last Thursday problems emerged in the context of the treating of documentation or evidence as private or not, in the context of documentation that's been provided to the Judge Cregan, by the Department of Finance or IBRC. I have here a copy of the press report from the 22nd of August in an article written by Cliff Taylor. The headline: "Legal issues could delay statutory inquiry into IBRC." Clearly, it's just not credible for the Taoiseach and the Department to say, and the Minister for Finance, that they were unaware of these issues until last Thursday. That is factually incorrect. What we want to know now is, what is the situation as things stand? How quickly can emergency legislation be brought forward to ensure that this work can be completed by the end of the year? Clearly, there has been advices from the Attorney-General, which I would suggest the state would benefit from that advice being published. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about almost €1 billion of the people's money. Perhaps there's nothing to see here, as government ministers have suggested, but evidence elsewhere in the public domain would give cause for wonder. And I think the people are entitled to know, at an absolute minimum, why 119 million of a write-down was afforded in the context of the purchase and sale of SiteServe. There are obviously 37 other transactions which are also to be investigated by the Commission of Investigation, or the Commission of Inquiry, into these transactions over 10 million within IBRC. But I think it's imperative that the SiteServe transaction in particular is fully investigated and the outcome published in advance of a general election. I think, with due respect to government, to the Minister for Finance, to the Department of Finance and IBRC, I think the people are entitled to know how 119 million of their money was potentially thrown away and squandered by the actions of department officials, of the Minister, of people in IBRC, receivers or whomever. So I would ask that you impress this upon the Taoiseach in the first instance, and that at an early date, as soon as is humanly possible, we can debate this issue here in the House. Thank you.
Senator Bacic.